Ever thought what the turning point of World War II was? The answer lies in the heart of the Soviet Union, at the Battle of Stalingrad. Welcome to the world of history, where every moment is a story, and every story has a hidden layer. Our tale today takes us back to the early 40s, to the icy winds of Stalingrad, a city that would become the stage for one of the most pivotal battles in the annals of human warfare. The Battle of Stalingrad, a confrontation of epic proportions, was a turning point in World War II. It was a battle that raged for over 5 brutal months, from August 1942 to February 1943, marking it as one of the longest, bloodiest, and most ferocious battles in history. Why Stalingrad, you may wonder? Well, nestled on the banks of the Volga River, Stalingrad was a strategic jewel. It was an industrial hub, a key transportation link between the Caspian Sea and northern Russia, and a gateway to the oil-rich Caucasus region. Hitler, with his eyes on these prizes, was determined to capture it, making it a focal point in his grand plan. However, the city's name bore another significance. Stalingrad was named after Joseph Stalin, the Soviet leader. Its capture would not only offer strategic benefits but also deliver a psychological blow to the Soviets, tarnishing the image of their leader. But the Soviet Union was not about to let this happen. The city's defenders, ill-equipped and outnumbered, fought with a ferocity that was fueled by desperation and a resolve to protect their homeland. Every inch of the city was contested, every building a fortress, every street a battlefield. What ensued was a battle that would forever change the course of World War II. The Battle of Stalingrad was not just a clash of armies, but of ideologies and wills, a testament to human resilience and the lengths to which people will go to defend their land. So buckle up as we delve into the frigid depths of one of the most brutal battles in human history. Imagine being at the helm of a seemingly unstoppable force, confident of a quick victory. That was the German army in the summer of 1942. As the sun blazed down on the Eastern Front, the German forces, spearheaded by General Friedrich Paulus, were preparing to take the Soviet city of Stalingrad. Paulus, a man of strategic precision, had his mind set on a swift and decisive victory. The German army, battle-hardened and well-equipped, marched on with an air of invincibility. Now, if you ever need a lesson in making an entrance, look no further than the German army's initial foray into Stalingrad. They came down on the city like a proverbial ton of bricks, leaving destruction in their wake. Their initial success was, to put it mildly, impressive. The German forces advanced rapidly, employing a strategy known as Blitzkrieg, or lightning war. This was not a leisurely Sunday drive. It was a full-throttle, pedal-to-the-metal kind of advance. The Soviets, caught off guard, could do little to halt the German advance. And then there was the Luftwaffe. If the ground offensive was the right hook, the Luftwaffe was the left jab. A devastating bombing campaign that reduced much of Stalingrad to rubble. The city's skyline, once filled with the hustle and bustle of everyday life, was now dominated by plumes of smoke and the eerie silhouette of crumbling buildings. But let's not forget, in war, success can be fleeting. The German forces, while initially successful, were about to face a reality check. You see, Stalingrad was not just any city, it was a symbol of Soviet resilience, a place where every building, every street, every citizen was prepared to fight to the bitter end. In the cruel irony of warfare, the very confidence that propelled the German army towards Stalingrad was about to become their Achilles heel. As they reveled in their early success, and the prospect of a quick victory, the tide of the battle was preparing to turn. But as they say, pride comes before a fall, and the German army was about to learn this the hard way. Picture this, your enemy is advancing but you stand your ground. You're the underdog but you're not going down without a fight. That was the Soviet Union in late 1942. As the German forces continued their onslaught, the Soviet Union was preparing a counteroffensive that would turn the tide of the Battle of Stalingrad. This was not a mere pushback, but a calculated strategy, meticulously planned and executed. The strategy was codenamed Operation Uranus. Under the keen leadership of General Georgy Zhukov, the Soviets planned to encircle the German Sixth Army. It was a bold move, a kind of military gambit that could either make or break the Soviet defense. But General Zhukov, with his steely resolve and strategic genius, was ready to play his hand. As the German forces were busy battling the Soviet resistance within Stalingrad, they were oblivious to the storm that was brewing on their flanks. The Soviet forces launched Operation Uranus on November 19, 1942. They targeted the weaker Romanian and Hungarian armies that were guarding the German Sixth Army's flanks. The surprise attack was a success, and the Soviets managed to encircle the German forces. But the Soviet Union had an ally that the Germans had not taken into account: the brutal Russian winter. Known for its harsh, freezing conditions, the winter of 1942 was one of the coldest. The German forces, ill-prepared for such extreme weather, found themselves fighting not just the Soviets, but also the freezing cold. Frostbite became as much an enemy as the Soviet soldiers. The encirclement was complete, and the German Sixth Army, once confident of a swift victory, found itself trapped. The Soviet Union had turned the tables on the Germans, and the Battle of Stalingrad took a dramatic turn. The Germans had walked into a trap, underestimating their enemy and the harsh Russian winter. So, there you have it. The German Sixth Army, once the hunters, had become the hunted. They were caught in a vice-like grip, with no easy way out. Little did the Germans know, they were trapped in a deadly Russian bear hug. Imagine being trapped, cold and starving with no hope of rescue. That was the fate of the German Sixth Army in early 1943. As the Battle of Stalingrad raged on, the German forces found themselves in a desperate situation. The Soviet Red Army had encircled them, cutting off their supply lines. The German Sixth Army, once a formidable force, was now trapped in a brutal Russian winter with dwindling food and ammunition. In a desperate bid to break the encirclement, the Germans launched Operation Winter Storm. This was a relief attempt, a last-ditch effort to rescue the beleaguered Sixth Army, but the odds were against them. The Red Army was well prepared, their defenses solid. Despite the Germans' best efforts, Operation Winter Storm ended in failure. The situation for the German Sixth Army went from bad to worse. The soldiers were freezing, starving, and running out of ammunition. Surrender seemed inevitable, but Hitler refused to allow it. He ordered his troops to fight to the last man. But as the weeks passed, the reality of the situation became undeniable. In early February of 1943, the German Sixth Army finally surrendered. The once mighty force was reduced to a mere shadow of its former self. Over 90,000 German soldiers were taken prisoner by the Soviets, many of whom would never return home. The Battle of Stalingrad was a bloodbath, with massive casualties on both sides. The city was left in ruins, a grim reminder of the cost of war, but it was also a turning point. It marked the beginning of the end for Hitler's dream of a German empire stretching across Europe. Stalingrad was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a story of courage and endurance in the face of unimaginable hardship. But it was also a stark reminder of the horrors of war, a lesson that should never be forgotten. And so, the once mighty German Sixth Army was reduced to a mere shadow of its former self. What happens when a seemingly invincible force meets an immovable object? The Battle of Stalingrad gives us the answer. The aftermath of the Battle of Stalingrad was like the morning after a storm, filled with a grim sense of reality and the echoes of a fierce struggle. The city of Stalingrad, once a bustling metropolis, was left in ruins, a stark reminder of the high cost of war. The battle marked a turning point in World War II. Until then, the German war machine seemed unstoppable, blitzkrieging its way through Europe. But the Battle of Stalingrad halted its advance, signaling to the world that the Axis powers could be resisted, could be beaten. This was a much-needed morale boost for the Allies, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. But what about the long-term effects on the warring nations themselves? For Germany, the loss of an entire army was a blow from which it never fully recovered. The defeat weakened the German offensive and marked the beginning of a series of retreats. The invincible force had met its match. For the Soviet Union, the victory was a symbol of national resilience. Despite the immense loss of life and the desolation of one of their key cities, the Soviets had defended their homeland and turned the tide of war in their favor. The immovable object had stood its ground. Yet the aftermath was not all about military strategies and geopolitical shifts. It was also about the human cost. Millions of lives were lost, families torn apart, and cities reduced to rubble. The survivors were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives in the shadow of a battle that would forever be etched in the annals of history. The Battle of Stalingrad, a testament to human resilience and the destructive power of war, forever changed the course of history.